Welcome to episode 324 of the Various and Sundry podcast. I'm your host, Matt Harmon, joined live in the Vault Studio from the beautiful campus of Grace College and Grace Theological Seminary by my good friend, my colleague, my co-host, and the man who is wearing the same Grace quarter zip as I am, John Scott Sloat.
Yeah, got the quarter zip on this morning. It's students still aren't back from spring break, so it feels like a casual Monday for me. So
yeah, very nice.
Not that I dress up for students really, but for whatever reason it feels that way. Summers feel that way too, right? Where I get away with the polo and
yes. I'm a little more casual as well. I mean, I typically don't teach in a quarter zip.
Yeah. And you're quarter zip and t-shirt today.
Quarter zip and t-shirt. You're at least quarter zip and button down.
Button down, yep.
Okay. Yeah, very nice. So, yes, we're back in the studio. This is in our typical spot on a Monday. And we're in the middle of some pretty standard kind of Indiana weather. Yeah,
some might say wacky weather.
Yeah.
So let me just illustrate. Do we want to talk about late last week? We were under wind advisory.
Sure, yeah.
And I was in my office in McLean Hall on campus, one of our first buildings.
Yes.
And power went out to half the building.
Yeah.
My office was left on.
Oh, okay.
Wi-Fi was intact. The coffee machine worked.
Oh, you had everything you needed.
I did. The rest of my team did not. They all lost power and were unable to work in their offices.
Well, they sent Lakeland, the school that my wife teaches at, dismissed early.
Really?
Of the power outage, yeah. So
due to high winds, like it was decently sunny, if memory serves.
Like sustained 40-mile-an-hour winds and gusts up to 60.
And then Sunday, it was 70 degrees.
Yes.
And we went for a walk. It was very windy. Mm-hmm. And then last night, I was awoken at about 10:40.
Yeah.
Were you awoken at 10:40?
Yes.
With a tornado warning.
Yes.
Which I was a little confused. The watch warning thing has always confused me. The watch is like, hey, heads up, there could be a tornado.
Yeah, the watch's conditions are very favorable for this.
And they said, no, this is a warning. And my understanding of warning, correct me if I'm wrong, is that there is a tornado.
With tornadoes, it's a little different from what I understand because if you look at the actual announcement from the National Weather Service, it's basically indicated that there was a storm and that some rotation had been observed. So that's like the precursor for a tornado, I guess. That sparks a tornado warning.
So what did you do at 10:40 when you got that alert on your phone? It woke me up.
We did go down to our basement.
Did you really?
Yeah. Tornado warning, I feel like you don't mess with that.
So
even though then I check my phone and I'm like, this looks pretty flimsy, but
and it was 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a 20-minute.
It was 20 minutes. It was a 20-minute tornado warning.
I can hang out in my basement for 20 minutes.
And I was
just reading anyway,
I'd been asleep for an hour. I know that surprises no one.
Yeah. Only an hour?
Yeah, only an hour. And Andrew and I both woke up. We had a sleeping baby in a crib in our room.
Yeah.
And we went, do we wake the baby?
Tough call.
I walked around the house. Also realized we had a window open in that moment.
Well, at least
shut the window. And then I went, let's stay put. And if, I'll stay up till 11 and we'll just wait. Mm-hmm. And nothing happened.
You rolled the dice.
And so we went back to sleep.
You rolled the dice.
Listeners are so going to judge me for that call.
So I assume you have windows in your bedroom. Is your bedroom on a second floor?
Main level. Main level.
Okay.
Yeah, you have not been to the new house.
I haven't been to the new slope.
I've got plenty of boxes for you.
I am thrilled about that. I am very excited about that. Yes, your wife mentioned that yesterday at church.
Yeah, got plenty of boxes.
So, yeah, we'll have to swing by and pick those up.
Anytime.
Well, we gotta figure out where we're gonna put them.
Yeah, that they don't stack well. That's
So you didn't break them back down. You kept them.
no, didn't break them down.
All right. Very good. Well, maybe Kate and I will come.
Many of them are no tape boxes.
Yes. Have to bring both vehicles and load them up.
Load them up, or you come by 5 minutes each day and just get a handful.
There you go. So anyway, it's just been wild. And so then that happened last night. Temperatures in the 60s.
Oh yeah. The tornado.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't close the loop on this. And then this morning it was in the 30s and snow.
But still crazy windy.
Still crazy windy. Yeah, snow's moving sideways.
Yeah. But nothing really accumulating quite yet.
No, they said 1 to 3.
I just don't buy that.
No, I don't buy it either.
I think trace to like half an inch is what it's looking like. But
Yeah, I think that's right.
anyway. If you'd like to contact the show and share your opinions on tornado warnings, if you'd like to offer your judgment directed towards John Sloat for his failure to seek shelter in the basement. You have a basement, right?
Yeah. Well, at least I didn't go out on the front porch. That's what I used to do. Like, oh, there's a tornado. Let me see if I can see it. Out there, you look around a little bit.
Yeah, see, that's unusual because that's expected behavior from a native Midwesterner, which you're not.
I'm not, no.
No. Yeah. In any case, you can find the show on X at VNSPod. You can email the show, variousandsundrypodcast@gmail.com, which we had
did
chime in. Yes,
we
had
did.
someone reach out to us.
Yes. Eric, and I believe in Virginia.
Okay.
Eric in Virginia sent in an email. So hello, Eric in Virginia.
Shout out to Eric in Virginia.
I don't believe we know Eric.
I don't think so.
So Eric had some opinions about daylight savings he wanted to get across.
Okay.
And then
It looks like it's a reasonable length email here. That's not a short.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like excessively long, but
yeah, he's not a ranter.
No,
it seems like a normal dude who just wrote an email.
Yeah.
And it's not a one-liner. It's not one of my emails, right? He also wanted us to know that on Spotify he had a Chumba Casino ad pop up, and this has been an area of constant frustration for us.
Yeah, I mean,
so I want all listeners to hear that we have unchecked the box for casino ads,
and we've always had it unchecked, is my understanding.
Always had it unchecked.
Always been that way.
I've even gone in and listened to specific ads that have run on the podcast and said no more ads from Chumba Casinos.
Okay.
I've listened to enough podcasts to hear, like I can hear the jingle in my head for Chumba Casinos.
Okay, I don't know the jingle, so.
Yeah, it's infuriating.
Yep.
But I want all listeners to know that we have turned those off. They have always been off.
Yeah.
And this is not a 1984 thing. We've always been at war with East Asia or anything like that.
No.
It's just, we're honestly, like, I think we want to get to the point where the ads pay for our annual fee for the podcast.
That'd be great. We have a long way to go.
We sure do. Although I think we're getting to the spot where it could like maybe buy us lunch at some point with the number of ads we've done so far. So he emailed about that. And then he also wanted to hear about the history of Grace College and the Charis Fellowship.
Okay.
So I'm not sure either of us are the people to do that. We may have to bring in a third party.
We might have to bring in a third party.
We are nothing but a slave to our audience and need content.
I mean, I think we might have to lean on Zach in Ohio for
we may have to call Zach in Ohio
for that. So you can also find us on Facebook and on YouTube, and we would love for you to leave a 5-star rating, which I trust Eric has done in addition to sending us the email. We would appreciate that very much.
Eric in Virginia.
All right, John, let's talk a little sports.
Yeah, let's do it.
So obviously the big news is the NCAA tournament bracket is set. March Madness is here. And
games start Thursday? Is that right?
Well, technically they start Tuesday.
Is it the play-in in Dayton?
Yeah. Did you put I guess I didn't check. Did you put in the show notes from the previous episode the link to the bracket?
I checked it last night. 9 participants so far.
Okay. All right. So we'll make sure we put it in the show notes again.
Eric in Virginia. I expect you to sign up.
Yeah. And so, yes, I don't know if you watched any college basketball over the weekend. Probably not.
Nope.
Okay.
I watched a little World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay. Yeah, my bad.
And I actually, in some ways, I feel like the conference tournament weekend can be just as entertaining as the first couple rounds of the NCAA tournament. But
congrats on the Buckeyes making the tournament.
They did make the tournament. They are an 8 seed.
Okay.
I was a little frustrated. Like, it's weird. I actually wanted them
Lower.
I was hoping they'd be like a 10 seed.
Yeah.
The 8-9 line's a tough line to be on because even if you win that first round,
which is usually a tough game,
which is it's an even matchup typically, then you end up with a 1 seed.
Yeah.
So at least it's progress. They made the tournament. So I have not filled out my bracket yet. If I had to guess, I will probably pick them to win their first round matchup and then lose in the second round.
Okay.
I guess. But so number 1 seeds: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida.
Yeah. That Florida one surprised me. I didn't know they were any good this year. It just shows you how much I pay attention to college basketball.
Clearly. They've been a little under the radar. They've kind of peaked later in the season. But, Duke, Michigan, and Arizona have, for most of the season, have been in the top 5, 6 range in terms of the rankings. So none of those are surprises. Shout out to the Boilermakers beating Michigan in the Big Ten tournament championship game.
Yeah, love a good upset.
So, So follow the link.
Yeah, get in there.
Get in there. Make your picks. The winner gets a signed copy of a Doc Harmon book of your choice.
Oh, of their choice.
Except I'm going to have to bracket out the dissertation.
Oh, because have we had that request?
I don't know, but I only have like one or 2 extra copies.
And the publisher's just not rolling them off the presses?
The last time I checked, which was actually surprisingly over the weekend, I think it was like $243 on Amazon.
Wow.
But if you go for the Kindle version, you save $3.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's a Kindle version of your dissertation.
Yeah.
Man.
Yes, indeed. So anyway, fill that out and
join our bracket competition.
Join the bracket competition. All right, John, you want to talk about World Baseball Classic?
Yeah. So I believe tonight is
being
Monday.
Yeah. So by the time this airs, it'll have been.
Yeah. Venezuela plays Italy to see who plays the United States at the championship game. So the United States had a thriller against the Dominican Republic and ended up beating the Dominican Republic 2-1.
All right.
And so we'll see what happens tonight, and then the championship game is Tuesday night, the day this drops.
So my understanding, I caught wind of this on Twitter, is that the U.S. was actually in danger of not making it out of pool play.
Because we lost to Italy. Yeah.
Okay. And there was a lot of shade being thrown towards the U.S. manager for apparently or seemingly not understanding how the rules worked in terms of who advances and who doesn't based on all sorts of metrics and tiebreakers and who scores how many runs and that kind of thing.
It's kind of set up like the World Cup, right, where you have goals for, goals against, and all those things matter in getting into the tournament when you're not the first one in your group.
Yeah.
So it's we just don't set sports up like that in the United States, right?
Typically,
we have a regular season, a division, and then you go to the playoff, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so tomorrow night the Mets prospect pitcher is going to be on the mound
for the U.S.
For the U.S.,
okay.
yeah, is going to be on the mound.
Now, don't they have some weird you have several Americans playing for Italy, for example, based on the fact that their great grandfather was Italian or something.
Yeah, their name sounds Italian generally.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the case.
Okay.
Yes, that's the case. Yes, playing for Team Italy from California.
Right.
That's sort of
that's
sort of what's happening.
Got it. Okay. Well, Interesting.
But they're pros in there, right? I mean, they're
Right.
professional baseball players.
Right.
So they're good players. They have good pitchers.
Yes.
So
Yes. And we should also note here a little closer to home, the Grace College men's basketball team advanced to the Sweet 16 by winning the Winona Lake Pod
yeah.
of the NAIA National Tournament.
I listened to you and Jake call both those games.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. So the NAIA structured similar to the NCAA tournament, except for the first two rounds are at a home site, basically.
Yep.
So it's not quite this simple, but most of the top 4 seeds end up hosting what they call a pod.
Yep.
And so Grace, as a number 1 seed, hosted a pod, and they beat the 16 seed Johnson University out of Knoxville, Tennessee.
And they had a great big man.
Yes. Mario Lockhart.
Yeah.
Was it Mario? Mason Lockhart.
He was very athletic.
Yeah,
good in
he's
the
terrific.
post.
He's terrific. And then in the second round, they beat the Southeastern Fire.
Yeah. Charismatic school, right?
Out of Lakeland, Florida. I think Assembly of God.
Assemblies of God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Fire makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. And now they advance to play Cumberlands out of Kentucky as the 4 seed.
A lot of foul trouble in that second game.
It was a weird
start. We are not a team that traditionally hits a lot of threes, and we hit a ton.
We hit 8 of our first 9.
That's wild.
It was just unreal. Now, in fairness, they were wide open looks.
Yes.
They were. Southeastern was so committed to shutting down our offense in the paint that we were getting practice level kind of jump shots from behind the arc with no defender within 5-6 feet of you, that kind of thing. And so started off 8 for 9, and that kind of carried us off to a victory.
What have people told you about the experience of listening to you on the broadcast? I'm just curious what feedback you get.
I don't know. I mean, you're asking me to say something nice about what I do. You're asking me to essentially compliment. I mean, we don't get any hate mail, which is good.
Well, that's.
I mean, Jake does a great job, and we do tend to get a good bit of appreciation from the parents or grandparents of players.
Oh, really? That's
Who
interesting.
will stop by the table sometimes and just say, "Hey, when we can't be here, we love listening to you guys. We appreciate how the nice things you said about our kid." And then we've also had some feedback from other from people who are affiliated with other schools saying, "We appreciate that you are very complimentary of our team."
Yeah.
Even obviously you're a Grace broadcast team, but you're not trashing the other team, or you go out of your way to highlight the strengths and good play of the opponent.
I was more referencing, do you get feedback about Urban Edge Network?
So we haven't gotten a ton yet because we just made that transition to Urban Edge.
For the tournament only, correct?
For the Crossroads League tournaments where it started.
Yeah.
So that means we've done 5 Grace games, and then there was one other game in there. So we've had 6 games with Urban Edge.
It's a unique watching experience on Urban Edge.
How so?
Have you haven't heard any of this feedback?
Well, I've heard that there are more commercials, but they will split the screen. Is that correct?
Yes, and they cut your audio.
Okay.
You and Jake. So it'll be like, ooh, I don't know what that call was. Let's zoom. Well, Doc, would you explain that for us? Sure, would love to. And you go in your explanation. TurboTax, is like the next thing I see. It's just like, I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And in fact, I encouraged my parents to listen in on Urban Edge, and they went, "Can we pay for no ads? Would that be an option?"
Is that an option?
So,
yeah. So we'll see if that continues next year. I know Urban Edge, they are broadcasting all of the NAIA national tournament games.
it is nice to see it for free.
And it's for free.
Yeah.
And that is nice. So, when you get something for free,
Yeah.
you kind of have to put up sometimes with commercials.
Yeah. All right, we ready for our main topic?
Let's do it.
All right. Today we are talking about Doc Harmon's new book. Let me make sure I get the title here. The Wisdom of God, Revealed, Reviled, and Reverberated.
There it is.
All right. First question. When you came up with that revealed, reviled, reverberated, do you remember where you were and what was the feeling?
I don't remember where I was. I imagine I was sitting at my desk in my study.
That feels like one you like get up and do a fist pump, you know.
Well, okay, so
it's from Crossway.
it is from Crossway. When I submitted the manuscript, the series editors, Dane Ortland,
Okay, yeah, we've had
Former-
Dane on the pod.
former guest on the pod,
Yeah.
and Miles Van Pelt, they did raise a question about the word reverberated and said, I don't know. But we moved it forward. And then once again, a couple of the editors at Crossway said, I don't know about the word reverberated. And
What was the complaint about the word reverberated?
just not an especially common word. Does that really capture what you're getting at the way you describe it? And so, and they were very gracious about it. It was just, are you sure? We have some concerns about this. It wasn't, combative or anything.
Yeah.
But I did end up having to have a vice president from Crossway weigh in and say, we can keep it.
Wow.
So,
really?
Yeah.
Man, you heard it here I bet that's the only interview on this book you've got into the guts of the word reverberated.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and shout out to Justin Taylor.
I wasn't going to name him, but I'm willing to bet.
Shout out to Justin Taylor.
I was willing to bet it was Justin Taylor.
For backing me on that. So,
Okay, so this is in the short studies in biblical theology. I think there's several books in this series now. I mean,
I think we're probably pushing 15 now.
15,
I think.
and they all are somewhere between 100 and probably 150 pages. Really accessible, really readable. Not a whole lot of jargon or big words like reverberated.
And maybe that was the concern.
And the rest.
Yeah.
But just as sort of a level setter, when people go, Doc, what is the book about?
Yes.
How do you answer that in sort of an elevator pitch?
So this book is attempting to show a consistent pattern that runs throughout redemptive history and in our own lives, in that God reveals his wisdom to us as human beings. So that shows that the source of wisdom is God himself.
Yeah.
And that in our humanity, in our sinfulness, we revile it, we reject it, we turn away from it because we think we know better.
Yeah.
And then in response, God reverberates it or vindicates it or demonstrates its truthfulness and its value, often in an intensified way. And so that's where the idea of reverberated comes from. Right? You think about it's something. If you're in a canyon and you say something out loud, there's an echo effect, and it can sometimes even sound like it's getting louder based on the way the sound is bouncing around off the canyon walls and that kind of thing. So that's why it was more than just, hey, this is cool alliteration. I do think there is a word picture there.
So in the book, you go through several instances of God's wisdom showing up, being revealed, reviled, and reverberated. And you actually use that structure in each chapter, sort of going, here's God's wisdom revealed in this situation.
Yep.
Here it is reviled by humanity, and here it is reverberated in the character of God to a particular end. I'll let the dealer choose here. From one of your chapters, do you want to give an example of God's wisdom revealed, reviled, and reverberated?
Yeah, so we can start in Eden. I think that's a good place to start.
I think so, yeah.
When you consider that there are a lot of wisdom motifs in Genesis 1 and 2 in terms of the way that God reveals his wisdom. So you have his wisdom revealed in the orderliness of creation, how it's structured and it's designed to function. You see it in the beauty of creation, and you see it also in him creating us as his image bearers. You see his wisdom on display in a little snapshot there, as well as him revealing his wisdom and saying, you can eat from any tree in the garden except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting title for the tree, right? The tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
Which is really getting at the heart of wisdom. Wisdom is, at least in part, the ability to discern the difference between good and evil. And so that's God revealing himself and also reminding Adam and Eve that he is the source of wisdom. He's the one that determines good and evil. That's part of what makes him wise, is that he is the one who determines that. So that's God revealing his wisdom.
So then now we're making the move to reviling. How did humanity revile?
So yeah, you see that in Genesis 3 where you see the serpent say to Eve, "Did God really say?" Mm-hmm. So he starts by questioning God's wisdom. Did he really say that? Did he really say that? And then Eve kind of overcorrects.
Yeah.
And says, well, he said we can't eat from it or even touch it. Which God never said that.
Sure.
And it's interesting and then the serpent just turns to, that's not true. Like he goes from like questioning God's word to being like, that's just not true, to rejecting it.
Actually, it's a power play from God. He doesn't want you to be like
exactly.
him.
Yeah. And the serpent says, in the day that you eat of it, you will be like God, knowing good and evil. And I don't think that's just experiential and like, oh, because you're living a perfect universe right now, you don't know about evil. No, he's saying you will be able to determine for yourself good and evil. You don't need God to determine it for you. You can be wise. And when you look at the reasoning that Eve goes through, and it even says that she looked at it and it was good. It was beneficial to eat it from it would basically make her wise. And so she does. So she rejects it. She decides, and then Adam, in eating along with her, joins in that rejection of God's wisdom.
Bit more passive, certainly, but yes.
And so they are rejecting God's revealed wisdom to assert their own wisdom of, no. We don't need God to determine what's right and wrong. We can do it. We are wise enough to do it on our own. We don't need him. We don't need him to reveal his wisdom. Our own wisdom is sufficient for this. And of course, that goes sideways immediately.
Yeah.
And which gets you into God reverberating his wisdom. So first of all, you see it even in them immediately experiencing the consequences. Because the moment they eat, their eyes are in fact opened.
Yeah.
And they feel profound guilt and shame. So that at one level is God vindicating or reverberating his wisdom. Like, see? Like, when you depart from my ways, look at what's going to happen. This is really bad. You're experiencing guilt and shame. And then the rest of the sort of consequences that come out of that, you've got God announcing judgment on them. And yet, in the midst of that, what's fascinating is there's still the note of mercy.
Yeah.
That God doesn't just wipe out Adam and Eve. He maintains his commitment to his creational purposes. And that's where you see, even in the context of God reverberating his wisdom, it is often a combination of judgment and mercy being shown at the same time.
And that's I appreciated that. I was looking at that in the Eden chapter, that sort of justice and mercy sort of coming together in God's wisdom as a way that his wisdom had been revealed, and then sort of spreading out through and you can almost see it through the rest of the storyline of Scripture, right? The sort of wisdom being revealed. That sort of judgment, mercy coming together, is that all wisdom reverberation that you see in Scripture? Is that a good catch-all, or does that get like 90% of it? Like how do you see that?
I mean, I think that gets a lot of it. I don't know that I'd be ready to say that it gets all of it, because at the same time, and this is where I want to distinguish between mercy in the sense of not getting what you deserve and grace, getting something you don't deserve in terms of his blessing, his goodness, his kindness.
Because sometimes it comes out through grace as well.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's an important component of that as well.
You have an example of that one, how his wisdom reverberates as an expression of grace?
Well, I think that one of the primary ways that comes to mind as I think about that is seeing it in the chapter on the church, how God displays his wisdom in the church. And that when we reject, even in the church as believers, when we reject God's wisdom, when we revile it, God often chooses to reverberate it and magnify his wisdom in the display of his grace as we pursue and seek reconciliation and forgiveness with each other. And so you see, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're so drawn to these reconciliation kind of stories, is that it is something that is unexpected on a human level, and yet it displays the richness of God's grace and gives a faint glimmer of the even greater reality of our reconciliation with God. But that chapter on the church is one of my favorites, in part because I think it talks about wisdom in a way that most believers don't think about. And by that I mean that what Paul says in Ephesians 3 is that part of the mysterious redemptive purposes of God by saving his people through Christ, both Jew and Gentile alike, and bringing them together into one body and uniting them in one body. That's
Ephesians 2 and 3, right?
Yes, yeah. Is to put his wisdom on display to the rulers and authorities, the spiritual rulers and authorities in the heavenly places.
And I believe the verse is it manifold wisdom? Yeah.
And so it's fascinating to think that, okay, of all the ways God could choose to display his wisdom to the spiritual powers of the universe, he chooses as a primary means, I'm going to bring together Jew and Gentile in one body and unite them around the person of Jesus. That these people who otherwise have lots of reasons to be at enmity with each other, to be hostile towards one another, when they are joined together in their union with Christ, they become one unified body that make the beauty and glory of Jesus their primary focal point. And that displays God's wisdom. Again, we think so oftentimes in terms of wisdom as what we see in the Proverbs. And this is wisdom, right? The sort of observed everyday life kind of, go to the ant, you sluggard.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. As a general rule, if you don't work, you probably are not going to have food to eat or have the necessities of life kind of thing. Like that's what we tend to think of when it comes to wisdom. And that is wisdom. But there are other elements of God's wisdom, and this one just is so intriguing to me that of all the ways that God could choose to display his wisdom to the heavenly powers and the spiritual forces that we have so little understanding of, he decides, I am going to do that by bringing together Jew and Gentile in one body, united around Jesus, and show these powers how my wisdom is on display through the ways that they love each other, serve each other, care for each other, and promote Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, man, the term glorious transformation is just coming to mind, right? The wisdom of God displaying the glorious transformation of these people that are, I mean, I think you undersold how divided.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? There's some great stories from the first century.
Right. But we don't tend to think, like, I think if you eliminate the term wisdom from that context and say, okay, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
God chooses to display his manifold blank and then continue on. How many people, unless they know the passage, obviously.
Sure.
They'd say his grace.
His grace, power.
His power.
Absolutely.
You know, you would come up with some other things. How many people would come up with wisdom? I just don't think that'd be the first word that comes to most people's minds, unless, of course, they know the passage.
All right, last area of discussion here before we move on. What does the book have to say? And you know, maybe this is like, well, this is a part 2 sort of answer. What does it have to say about living wise today?
Yeah. So one of the ways that we see this pattern show up is we, even as believers, we are tempted to reject God's wisdom and think we actually know better on this one.
Yeah.
And so it's still a temptation for us, even though we've been saved, to rely upon our own wisdom and our own understanding. And so there needs to be a growing and consistent posture of heart and mind that says, I'm going to submit to what God says as the path of wisdom, and a commitment to praying for and seeking wisdom when it's not an obvious thing. One of the things that just struck me consistently in writing this book, and you know, it seems a bit ironic when I talk about this, but one of the biggest takeaways about writing this book for me was realizing afresh how much I lack wisdom and how much I need wisdom in everyday circumstances, and how regularly I feel like I'm confronted with circumstances where I think, what is the wise course of action here?
Yeah.
Especially when the available options are all seemingly good. There's no like, well, that one's obviously bad, or this one's obviously the best. It's sort of, well, here's 4 or 5 different possibilities.
Oh, yeah, so hard.
I need wisdom, Lord, to know how to proceed from here. And that's where the Spirit, I think, comes in and guides and directs us to as we make decisions, as we, you know, submit ourselves in prayer and ask for the Lord's guidance and say, Lord, I think this seems like the best path forward, but please redirect me if I'm headed down the wrong path here. But yeah, I think
I had the thought, you know, looking at the book, that it's pretty in vogue right now in evangelical circles to say identity is something that comes from outside yourself, right? To sort of look outside yourself and say it is God who gives me an identity.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
yes.
And I think reflecting on the book a little bit, realize that wisdom is the same thing, right? That ultimate wisdom isn't, I need to learn, I need to discern, I need to reflect. I don't need to do introspection, but I need to do worship. I need to look toward God for that wisdom.
Yeah, and I think that we can, if we're not careful, we can, you know, we think of a passage like, you know, Proverbs 3, lean not on your own understanding, commit your ways to the Lord, that kind of thing, that we can sometimes draw too sharp of a distinction between, well, there's God's wisdom and then there's my sort of human wisdom. Like, I think God often, by his Spirit, works through our existing knowledge, our existing experience, the counsel of others, to guide us in wisdom. That it's not something that is sort of spoken directly to us as a new thing.
Yeah.
As if we're like, okay, God, I don't know what to do. And then God says, okay, do this. That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
It's, all right, Lord, I need your wisdom. And he uses all those things, again, our existing knowledge, our experience, the counsel of others, his word, to guide us by his Spirit to walk in wisdom.
Well, Matt, the book is super readable, super accessible, and organized well. So thank you for your work here. Where can people go to learn more or to find a copy?
So the day that this episode drops is the official launch date, March 17th. Yeah.
So it's
they can go
today?
to crossway.org, and if there's a search bar up there, if you just type in Harmon Wisdom of God, that'll pull it up. And there's this small mom and pop internet site that some people may have heard of. It's called Amazon.com. I think I got that right.
Yeah.
And you can find it on there.
Very nice. Very nice. I will say one of my favorite parts of the book is the back cover where it has your bio.
Yes.
Let me just read it. Matthew S. Harmon, it says you got your PhD at another school, is a professor of New Testament studies at Grace College and Theological Seminary. You need to get that branding right. It should be Grace College and Grace Theological Seminary, but whatever. In Winona Lake, Indiana, he was previously on staff with Cru for 8 years and is the author of numerous books and commentaries, which is all true. And then the final sentence, he also co-hosts the Very Sundry podcast.
Yes, there you go.
So love that that's part of the bio.
Yeah. Well, got to promote the pod here, John.
Yeah.
Got to promote it.
We're nothing if not slaves to our audience here.
That's right. All right, John, time now for This Day in Sports History.
All right, This Day in Sports History, March 17th, 2026, 1955. Canadian fans.
Now, that's Canadian, as in like the Montreal hockey team.
The hockey team.
Clarify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Riot in the streets of Montreal protesting the NHL president Clarence Campbell suspension of Maurice Rocket Richard the previous day. The Canadians forfeit the game to Detroit after a smoke bomb goes off in the Forum and the crowd spills into the streets, setting fires and smashing windows and looting.
Yeah. Don't mess with the Canadians, whether the ENS or the ANS, when it comes to their hockey.
Why was he suspended?
That I'm not clear on.
Okay.
But apparently it was not a popular decision.
Well, the NHL, I think they call it commissioner now.
Maybe.
But the NHL commissioner now is not a popular human being, regardless who sits in the chair. Are you familiar with this tradition among any?
No.
When he comes out to deliver, he delivers the Stanley Cup to them. Fans, no matter the stadium, boo him everywhere he goes. It's just sort of commonplace to boo the NHL commissioner.
Yeah.
1985, March 17th, Matti Nykänen.
Probably Nykänen.
Nykänen of Finland sets a world ski jump record of 623 feet. Is that the downhill with the jump? That's a long way.
Yeah, that's 2+ football fields.
Yeah. Interesting that came up in feet and not meters.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I know how much you love a good Finnish athlete. So
I do like the Finns. I am a big fan of the Finns. Little Rock in 2016, jumping in the future, some 30 years. Little Rock advances with an out-of-nowhere comeback that leads to an 85-83 double overtime victory over Purdue in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
I remember that because I think I picked Purdue to go pretty deep and feeling like, well, that pretty much destroys my bracket in the first afternoon of the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, Little Rock should just be happy to be there, 2018, the Yukon Huskies opened their NCAA women's tournament with a record-setting 140-52 rout of St. Francis, Pennsylvania. The tournament's top seed Sets a record for points in a tournament game and all-time NCAA record for points in a period, 55 in the first and 94, or
55 in the first quarter.
In the first quarter and a half, 94.
And 94 in the first half, yeah.
Dang.
You get more of those mismatches in women's than you do in men's.
Oh, yeah. 2021, at the America's Cup in Auckland, Emirates team New Zealand beats the Italian yacht Luna Rosa Prada Pirelli by 46 seconds in a race 10 for a 7-3 series victory and retain the cup. I have no idea what I just read. Is that
race 10? So there are multiple races in that series. So it's like
race 10.
There you go. For a 7-3 series victory. Yeah. So it's like a best of, I don't know what that best of.
And it's yacht racing?
Yes. You've never heard of the America's Cup?
I've heard of it.
Okay. Yacht racing, yeah.
I didn't realize they ran 10 races. I mean, talk about silver spoon, you know?
Yeah.
2024 PGA Players Championship, TPC Sawgrass, Scotty Scheffler becomes first player to win back-to-back Players Tournaments, beats Wyndham Clark.
Probably just Wyndham.
Wyndham Clark and Xander, oh my goodness, I've heard this name 1,000 times, Schauffele and Brian Harmon by a stroke.
Yeah.
This is not where he got arrested, right?
Correct.
That was in
That
Louisville.
was in Louisville.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right. So who do you like out of that?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Let me see here. Let's go Clarence Campbell.
Okay. So you're going with the president of the NHL here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, very few riots in our this day in sports history.
That's true.
Surprisingly so.
Well,
I guess we didn't
part
dip
of that's
into
because we tend to focus more on American sports, where you have fewer of those compared to like international soccer, where
people get beat to death, right?
Or crushed to death in stadium incidents. So,
Interesting. Well, Doc, since you had the book come out and I don't have one thing prepared, why don't you do your one thing first?
All right, one thing we liked. Okay, so I'm going to go with because the world needs more interviews with me. There are 2 other podcast interviews this week
very nice.
That are out. The first is on the Crossway podcast.
Nice.
Which makes sense since it's a Crossway book. And we'll put links to these in the show notes. The other one is got an interesting story to it, is Christian Heritage London. Okay.
Have you been on that one before?
Well, here's the story. So back in 2023.
Way back.
3 years ago, I was in London and I went on a church history tour.
Yes.
With
remember this.
A guy named Ben Virgo who leads it. He heads up Christian Heritage London. It's like a walking tour of London oriented around church history. Fabulous. If you ever get a chance to go, you should do it. And afterwards, my wife and I went to his home and had dinner with them. Lovely family. And so he interviewed me for his podcast. And the audio and the video got lost.
Uh-oh.
Disappeared. And he felt horrible. Well, he sends me an email about, 4 or 5 days ago and goes, "This is great news, Matt. We have found the audio and the video.
Oh.
And I am posting it." And so the interview has been posted. Christian Heritage is the podcast. There's both an audio as well as a YouTube video of the interview. And
where did it go?
They used apparently some different equipment to record this, and it got misplaced, lost somehow.
Interesting.
And he found it.
Wow.
And so I would highly recommend. And what's funny is, as part of the introduction, this is why you should listen to it. As part of the introduction, he talks about how in doing his show prep in the kind of, weeks leading up to knowing he was going to interview me, he was listening to the Various and Sundry podcast. So he introduces me. He's like, "Now you host the Various and Sundry podcast, and you host it with a friend of yours, and his name is Don Slow. It's John Slow. John Slow. Yes, yes. So there's a little bit early on in the podcast about this. What's funny is, though, because this was 3 years ago, I'm like, yeah, we've done like 180 episodes, and as we sit here now at episode 324.
Yeah.
But he has an amazing voice, terrific British accent, and he interviews different people as well as does some of his own content just on church history. Fascinating stuff. He is really a sharp guy. So it's called the Christian Heritage Podcast. We'll put links to it in the show notes. So that is my one thing I like. What about you?
Have I done my fantasy baseball draft on the pod?
You have.
I have. Okay, then I'm going to rave about short commutes.
Okay, fair enough.
So my one thing I liked is my wife and I have fully moved now. We are in Warsaw, sort of on the boundary of Winona Lake, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Is
it technically a Warsaw address?
It's a Warsaw address, which means I pay Warsaw taxes and not Winona Lake taxes.
8-2 or 8-0?
8-0.
Okay. All right.
And so I have a very short commute to work, about 7 minutes. And let me tell you, that's life-changing.
I mean, you knocked 45, 50 minutes off the commute each way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It is life-changing. Yeah. Though you're going to have to find other ways to work in the podcast probably that you'd been listening to during those longer commutes, right?
Yeah, it's actually a little hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you'll get to see your wife and daughter.
See the girls a bit more.
A little bit more often. A little bit more and not spend so much time in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that is our one thing we liked. All right, John, we have talked about March Madness. Don't forget, link is in the show notes. Sign up for our bracket competition. Winner gets a signed copy of one of my books, your choice. We have talked about the book launch of The Wisdom of God. Revealed, reviled,
reverberated.
And reverberated. We have talked about Clarence Campbell. We have talked about short commutes.
Yeah.
And we've talked about a couple of podcast interviews with me. So I think by definition, we have covered our various and sundry topics. And so all that's left to say is, until next time, the Lord bless y'all real good.
Later.